Good day, boils and ghouls. Now, let's talk about stereotypical representation of lesbians. So I mentioned in my last review that vampires are an overwhelmingly queer monster. But one thing that I did fail to mention is that when that vampire is a woman, it tends to play into the stereotype best described as the predatory lesbian. I bring up vampires because that's an easy way to think of it. The lesbian is this beautiful, glamorous, but dangerous woman who seduces the poor, innocent, straight girl, virgin, and turns her into one of her. But the predatory lesbian doesn't have to be a vampire. I've even heard people assign this trope to things like Carol and Bound. She doesn't even have to be a lesbian. Bi women get this too. The most important part is this. A woman who is attracted to women hones in on one poor, innocent, straight girl and relentlessly pursues her, usually to the point of sexual harassment. And the straight girl usually resists. If she gives in, it's sometimes treated as a tragedy. Now, I'm not one to immediately complain about stereotypes, including ones that have real-world consequences, like the predatory lesbian trope, which depicts queer women as somehow dangerous to unsuspecting straight girls. Really, it's offensive on all sides. But I am a writer above all else. And if a harmful stereotype has a reason to exist, if it results in a good story that couldn't be told the same way without it, then I will reluctantly accept it on the grounds that we try to do better next time. Let's talk about high tension. Before we do, make sure that you subscribe to this channel and click that little bell thingy to get notified. I post regular movie reviews and gameplays, all with a horror theme to them. So trust me when I say that you won't want to miss what's coming. Don't believe me? Stick around to the end of the episode to find out what movie I'll be discussing next time. Now, high tension was a part of the new French extremity movement, which I will discuss in greater detail in my review for Martyrs. Keep an eye out for that one shortly after Pride Month. But for now, suffice it to say that it was kinda like France's answer to the American torture porn movement. It also sort of fits into the whole slasher subgenre, but with enough twists to make it feel fresh and new. The movie follows Alex and Marie, which, I'm sorry, I know this is irrelevant, but the actress they got to play Marie looks exactly like a female Freddie Prinze Jr. to me. Like, to a distracting level. Anyway, the two girls are going to Alex's family's secluded farm to, study, I guess? Fun vacation. As they're driving, we cut to a scene of the aforementioned farm, where we see that this gross murder truck has parked nearby, and some guy who looks like what would happen if Michael Myers skipped leg day is pleasuring himself with a woman's severed head. That may seem like an unnecessary, gratuitous scene, but hold on to that. I'm gonna make that important in a minute. Marie and Alex make it to the farm late at night. They get settled in while the family goes to bed, and then Marie immediately starts watching Alex shower without her knowledge, and then pleasuring herself alone in her bedroom. Wow, in a stranger's house? I'd wait until at least the third day to risk that. As she, finishes, maskless Michael Myers shows up at the house and brutally decapitates Alex's father. Marie hears this and immediately goes into hiding, but in doing so, she winds up watching Alex's mother get her throat cut and her hands sawed off. And trust me, I know that there's no pleasant way for that sequence of events to happen, but, yeah, it's pretty horrible. Like, there's blood everywhere. They show you the stump. Yeah, gross. Everyone gets killed except for Marie and Alex, the latter of whom gets taken, bound and gagged, into the back of the gross murder truck. Marie follows Alex into the back and promises her that she's going to help her escape, but Alex keeps getting distracted by all the bloody handprints around them, indicating that other girls have been kept here before and haven't met such peaceful ends. Again, Hold on to that. I'm gonna make that important soon. Beer Diet Michael Myers starts driving, unaware that Marie is in the back. And he stops at a gas station, at which point Marie sneaks out. She tries to warn the gas station attendant, but oop, he dead. Again, Marie manages to get away, and Michael Myers en français drives away with Alex. Marie tries to call the cops, but when they prove unhelpful, she decides to go after Alex herself. She faces off against Michael Myers with dialogue, and he taunts her about finding Alex attractive before she murders him. Marie then frees Alex, who responds by screaming, accusing her of murdering her family, stabbing her, and running away into the woods. And Marie responds to the rejection by, turning into Michael Myers and hunting Alex down. Get it? Marie was the killer the whole time. The movie tries to pull a Texas Chainsaw Massacre and have some random driver pick Alex up, but before they can get away, Marie kills him and then threatens Alex until she will say that she loves her before forcing a kiss on her. But their sexual harassment bliss is brief because Marie gets institutionalized. Okay, let's start with the obvious problem with this twist. It doesn't make any sense. I couldn't find any evidence that the ending was just a tacked-on studio note or perhaps a last-minute change made while they were already in the process of filming. In fact, from what I could gather, it seems as though that was the plan all along. The only question was how obvious they should be before the big reveal. But my brain cannot possibly accept that this was anything more than a half-assed, uninspired idea just thrown in partway through filming. Like, ooh, you know what no one would expect if the hero was actually the villain all along. God, that's stupid. And there's just too much left unexplained. If you're gonna have a twist at the end of your movie, then it's fine if things don't make sense during the body of the film. But at the end, everything needs to come together. All the nonsense explained by what we didn't know then and do now. But here... How did Marie get the gross murder truck? It's established that Alex drove her out to the farm, so what? Did she just happen to stumble along to some old, gross kidnap truck with blood smeared on the inside? Because if so, then that's lucky. And if the truck was hers and she somehow managed to get it out here, then why was there blood in the back? We are given no indication that Marie has murdered people before this, so... And who was in the truck pleasuring themselves with a stranger's severed head? Marie wasn't even at the house yet, so it couldn't have been her, and she had no concept of what the house looked like, so it couldn't have been her imagination. Sure, I know all of this could just be explained by saying that Marie's an unreliable narrator, but when there's no evidence that Marie's the killer, and plenty of evidence that she isn't, it gets kind of distracting. Like, really? What in this movie is supposed to be shorthand that she's a danger to Alex at all? I have heard some interpretations that high tension is supposed to be a metaphor for the queer experience, but I mean, how? Despite being bisexual, I have somehow managed to resist the urge to murder my crush's entire family and kidnap her when she invites me to her house. I mean, if I'm being generous here, I suppose there is this fear when you're growing up that your straight friend might realize that you think of them as more than a friend, and they might respond as though you just admitted to being a serial killer. And slumber parties have sort of turned into a microcosm for this fear, like in Kaylee Kyoko's song Sleepover. It's just this aggressively heterosexual situation where you're in your pajamas, sleeping beside your crush, meeting their family, blah 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 blah. But to say that, you know, having a crush on a girl and butchering her entire family is an equivalent metaphor is, a little off. Hey, maybe it was Marie's way of burying the lead. Like, yeah, I have a crush on you, but I also murdered your whole family. Makes your unrequited feelings for me seem not so bad. There's also a bit of controversy about how closely this film resembles Dean Koontz's novel, Intensity. Both stories began with their female protagonists staying with a friend's family, only for them to witness the murder of the family and the kidnapping of the friend. prompting them to try to save their friend. Director Alexandre Aja admitted to having read the novel and being aware of the similarities, but apparently he chose the right guy to plagiarize from, because Kuntz announced that he wouldn't take any legal action because he found the movie to be so morally bankrupt that he didn't want to be associated with it in any way. Because one thing that this movie does do very well is the gore. Not to mention, it is a very aptly named film. It keeps the tension high throughout. You really want to see Marie get to Alex, but to have her thwarted at every point, just enough that you don't give up hope, is very effective. Honestly, I've been aware of this movie for a long time, and I always thought it was a little weird that I was the only one that didn't like it. Everyone else watched this and saw a very stressful, very well-made torture porn flick. But the ending never sat right with me, and I didn't understand why until I learned about the predatory lesbian trope. Not only does this movie warn that lesbians are a danger to you and your little heterosexual family, but they'll actually murder you if you let them in. And maybe I could forgive that moral if there was just a narrative reason to justify it. But the twist just isn't solid enough. You can really tell that Aja just stole the beginning of someone else's work and then tacked on a half-assed ending. Because the violence and tone are so well handled, I'm still gonna give this movie 6 Freddie Prinze Jr. lookalikes out of 10. It is very good at evoking the emotions that it sets out to. Disgust, horror, anxiety, the gang's all here. Now, if only there was a way to combine the tone of high tension with the more fitting ending of Dean Koontz's novel. Like, some sort of adaptation or something. I mean it. If Aja had just gone the honest route and asked for permission, we could have actually gotten a worthwhile movie here. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and click that little bell thingy to get notified. Because next time, we're continuing on with Pride Month and talking about Jennifer's body. And trust me when I say that you won't want to miss it. Give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and while you're down there, why don't you leave me a comment? Let me know if you've ever seen High Tension, and if so, what did you think of it? Thank you so much for watching, my pets, and I will see you next time. Love you.